Hello again, and welcome back to this series on preparing your research paper for journal submission. The last part of this series is about tips, insights, and those little details to make the article submission process easier. The article submission process can seem scary, but knowing what to expect can help. We'll also look at what to do after you've submitted your paper. Once you're ready to submit your paper, you go online and find the journal's resources and submission instructions. The website will walk you through each step of submitting an article. Now, in general, there are 7 steps to submitting a paper. You'll need to know the paper type, such as whether it's a regular article or a short communication, the title, the abstract, and core ideas if required. Then you'll upload your files. Load the main document and cover letter separately. The journal may also ask for keywords and other attributes, such as subjects or categories, so be ready for those. You'll need to enter all the authors and their institutions, and you'll also need to identify potential reviewers, funding details, and give your paper a final look before submitting. As the submitting author, you will need to plan for any publication costs. Read the section on page charges carefully so that you don't have any surprises upon paper acceptance. Don't skip over the portion about suggested reviewers. Most likely, you can already think of a few people who are well qualified for this role because your work builds off of theirs. Now, don't be afraid. These people who know the topic well are those who will help you the most through review. Sometimes journals assign incoming papers to a technical editor, who then chooses an associate editor who will choose reviewers for your paper. It's probable that at least one of the reviewers you suggest will be a reviewer for your paper, but it's not a guarantee. In other words, the names you give are still just suggestions, but their expertise will help guide the journal to know who to ask to review your paper. If you know of people who might be asked, but they have a conflict of interest, maybe you've worked together on a project in the past, then you want to indicate those names too. One thing you can do to help you select reviewers is to serve as a reviewer yourself. Looking over other people's work is great for honing your own writing style and voice. Plus, it's a portable way to stay current on the latest science. Tell a few of your favorite journals that you're willing and interested in helping with review. This speeds up the process for others, which in turn helps speed up the process for you. Try to reciprocate and review 3 papers for every one that you submit. There are several tasks you can do to make the submission process easier. Open a new document or grab an empty notebook and write down what you've submitted and where. Write notes about your suggested reviewers, your signed-in information, and your ideas or comments of where to submit next if you need to. You will not remember these details, so write them down. Also, archive all those drafts in a folder and make sure your latest and greatest is easy to find. Now, it seems really simple, but you definitely want to have a firm grasp of which draft is the good one when it comes to the review comments and edits. Keep related files together because it gets messy once you start to have more than one paper in the works. The process of writing and submission doesn't really change over time, but it will become more familiar to you, which means it will get easier. Recognize that many, if not nearly all, research papers go through the review process a bunch of times before they are accepted. This torture is the point of peer review. Actually, no, the point is to make your draft as polished as possible for the reader. You may need to touch up the message of your paper and resubmit to a second or third journal. Again, these rounds of edits are normal. Don't be afraid to ask for help to make your paper even better for the next time, especially if English isn't your first language. And don't worry if you become frustrated or forget why you're doing this. Press on and keep writing. Finally, there is no substitution for practicing if, or rather when, you need the practice. Here are some online resources by the societies to help you get started or unstuck. I hope you have enjoyed this mini-series. Reach out to our staff if you have any questions about publishing. It does feel wonderful when you've submitted your paper, and it feels even better when it gets accepted. So get out there and give it a go.